Hello and welcome, my name is Chris from christopherhole.com. Welcome to this video where we're going to be talking about the anatomy of diabetes. In my last video I sort of gave an overview of diabetes and some ways to overcome it. What we're going to do in this little series is we're going to look at diabetes in a little bit more depth, and we're going to look at its anatomy and what's actually going on with it. I've broken it into two videos. This first one is about the pancreas, as you can see, and then the next video, part 2, is going to be about type 2 diabetes itself and a few more of the mechanisms and goings on within it. So to begin this video, to talk about the pancreas, it's a large gland located behind the stomach. Now, it's been called various different things, but we're just going to go with it's a large gland located behind the stomach. So you can see on this diagram here, you've got the pancreas, which is this part here, this sort of yellow structure, which sits behind the stomach, which you can just see faded here, and then you've got just above the intestines here and just below the liver here. So that's the location of it. So it sits quite central to a lot of organs, and it's split into two parts. First part is the exocrine pancreas, which secretes digestive enzymes into the duodenum, which is the intestines. The one we're going to focus on is the endocrine pancreas, which secretes insulin, glucagon, somatostatins and pancreatic polypeptides. Now, don't worry about a lot of those, because the two that we're going to focus on is the insulin and the glucagon. Now, the insulin is the hormone that lowers blood sugar or blood glucose, and glucagon raises blood glucose, because your body wants a certain amount in. If it goes too high, it will remove it. If it goes too low, it will replace it. So that brings us on to the the endocrine part of the pancreas, and these alpha and beta cells. So these two little diagrams here. So it's the alpha cells that secrete glucagon. So that increases the blood sugar. This will make a little bit more sense in part 2 when we come to talk about type 2 diabetes itself. And then you've got the beta cells, which secretes the insulin, which is there to lower the blood glucose. So it's the insulin that regulates your metabolism of carbohydrates, fats and proteins by promoting the absorption of especially carbohydrates into the liver, muscle cell and adipose tissue. So if you've watched my obesity videos, we talked about an excess of food, or excess of carbohydrates, or excess of sugar. Now that can be converted into what's called triglycerides and then transported to the adipose tissue. If we're talking about the liver and the muscle cell, that will be converted into glycogen and then put in the liver and then put in the muscle cell. But when those become full, it will then get converted to triglycerides and put in the adipose tissue, for want of a more simple way of describing it, if you will. So what we're sort of working with here are these two hormones, insulin and glucagon. So when we talk about diabetes, hopefully it should make a little bit more sense when I'm describing it in the next video. So what we'll do is we'll finish this one and we'll go straight into the next one, and we'll start talking about the type 2 diabetes itself now we've built this little foundation.